We're nearing the end of another month, and November has certainly been a meaningful one. It's a time when we observe both our youth and parents, two groups whose roles and responsibilities continue to shape our nation in powerful ways. On today's program, we have a lineup designed to get you thinking about positive parenting habits while also motivating our young people to grow into the leaders of tomorrow. You won't want to miss it. I'm Theodore Henry, and you're tuned in to Jamaica Magazine. We'll be back after the news.
Good day, I'm Lisa Rowe, and this is your JIS News for Wednesday, November 26, 2025. Jamaica's economy grew by an estimated 4.6% for the July to September quarter of 2025. The preliminary figures were shared by the Planning Institute of Jamaica, PIOJ, yesterday. PIOJ's Director General, Dr. Wayne Henry, says the growth is relative to the corresponding quarter of 2024. Dr. Henry says the estimated outturn largely reflected recovery from the low production base experienced in the similar quarter of 2024.
The economy recorded relatively strong growth, driven mainly by the industries that were most impacted by Hurricane Beryl, that caused damage estimated at 56.7 billion Jamaican dollars in the corresponding quarter of 2024. These industries were agriculture, forestry and fishing, electricity, water supply and waste management, accommodation and food service activities, and mining and quarrying, which benefited from improved operational conditions and greater demand.
Consequently, the goods-producing industry recorded growth of 10%, while the services industry experienced a 3% growth. Meanwhile, the period January to September grew by 2.4%.
This reflected higher real value added of 5% for the goods-producing industry and 1.6% for the services industry. The most significant drivers of this performance were agriculture, forestry and fishing, up 11.3%, accommodation and food service activities, up 2.9%, and construction, up 2.6%.
Still on the economy, the PIOJ says economic recovery to pre-Hurricane Melissa output levels is conservatively projected to be within 3 to 5 years. The Director General says the short-term outlook will see a sharp decline for the October to December quarter of this year.
In light of the foregoing, it is projected that the economy will contract within the range of 11% to 13% during the October to December 2025 quarter. The preliminary economic projection for fiscal year 2025-26 is for a contraction within the range of 3% to 6%.
Dr. Henry says this sharp downturn is the worst quarterly performance since the April to June quarter of 2020, when the island was affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. The PIOJ reports that prior to the passage of Hurricane Melissa, the economy was poised for strong growth following the adverse hydrological events of financial year 2024-2025. Growth of 3.1% was estimated for the first half of the current fiscal year, and this was expected to continue throughout the second half.
The depth and duration of this current shock is contingent on the timing of the implementation of major initiatives to support the humanitarian and economic recovery activities.
The Bank of Jamaica BOJ has announced that its policy rate will remain unchanged at 5.75% per annum, despite rising inflationary pressures following the passage of Hurricane Melissa. BOJ Governor Richard Biles explained that the decision was made during recent meetings of the Monetary Policy Committee MPC. Governor Biles also noted that the general price of goods and services are expected to rise in the short term due to the devastation in food-producing parishes.
The agricultural food shortages, which will be caused by the hurricane, resulting in higher prices. Post-hurricane activities, including recovery spending by Jamaicans and the government, as well as possibly increase in remittance inflows, could combine to cause inflation to increase. This is a result of demand outstripping supply, causing prices to rise. There is also the possibility of second-round price increases on other goods and services, including personal care items, routine household maintenance, transport, and energy.
The BOJ projects that inflation rates will return to the 4 to 6% target by 2027. The central bank is also taking special preemptive measures to preserve relative stability in the foreign exchange market.
BOJ has strong international reserves to support the foreign exchange market. Since the hurricane, the bank has sold US $210 million into the market. Going forward, in the short term, BOJ will also directly supply the foreign currency need of selected entities in the energy sector to take out of the market these large, lumpy purchases that could distort prices at any given time. We will also proactively ensure adequate foreign currency liquidity in the market, including the reintroduction of scheduled advance notices of intervention sales.
In other news, the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, has mobilized an initial $2 million in resilient recovery grants. These grants will support the restoration of community life and livelihoods and the national vision for a resilient recovery. This initial resilient recovery grant builds on the UNDP's immediate crisis response allocations and generous contributions from the CARICOM Development Fund and the European Union. UNDP resident representative Dr. Kishan Kodey says the agency stands in solidarity with Jamaica.
The initiative will also bring tangible impacts, immediate impacts at the community level, clearing debris, bringing solar systems, and enhancing SMEs and livelihoods so people can get back on their feet towards a resilient recovery.
The UNDP is also considering making available an additional $8 million in grant assistance through the realignment of resources from the agency's ongoing development programs in Jamaica. These funds will support nature-based and climate-resilient recovery in the tourism sector and capacity development for ecosystem restoration. It will also be used for integrated land management in Western Jamaica and support civil society organizations for building long-term resilience of communities and ecosystems. Cabinet has approved a $150 million loan to the Jamaica Public Service Company, JPS. This is to facilitate restoration efforts without extending the current existing license by the power company, which expires in 2027. Making the announcement in Parliament on Tuesday, Minister of Energy, Transport and Telecommunications Darrell Vaz explained that urgent restoration is needed in parishes hardest hit by Hurricane Melissa.
The Emergency Disaster Fund, which is what you would call the self-insurance for the distribution and transmission line of the JPS, which is not insured because it's uninsurable, is what we have used for Beryl and for Melissa and for all the other events that we have had in recent years. So, as of right now, that fund, based on the claims that have been made already, to prepare for Melissa, has been exhausted. So it means that the JPS has 2 years on a license, and they have to raise money to restore.
Minister Vaz said the loan will span 5 years with an interest rate still to be finalized by the Ministry of Finance. However, JPS has the option to repay in 2 years. Minister Vaz revealed that the JPS has projected worst affected areas may be restored by April or May 2026. However, Cabinet approval is expected to fast-track full restoration by February 2026.
But based on the fact that we need restoration as a country in the shortest possible time, the government of Jamaica has agreed to loan the JPS $150 million United States dollars on the basis that they will use that money, which is estimated at $75 million a month, to restore the entire grid, save and except for any special area that may not be reachable, but the major areas by the end of January, latest early February.
According to Minister Vaz, the JPS has committed 300 additional linesmen to their current crew of 170. To date, approximately 75% of the island has been restored. This represents 687,339 households and businesses that have been reconnected to the grid. The University of the West Indies, UWI Regional Headquarters in Kingston, will host the first regional colloquium on early childhood education this week. This is to strengthen support for Jamaica's youngest learners in the wake of Hurricane Melissa. The two-day event, running from November 27 to 28, is themed Building Strong Foundations, Advancing Early Childhood Education Through Policy, Practice and Partnership. The colloquium will focus on policy, practice and partnerships that will explore ways to resolve issues affecting the sector. Professor of Early Childhood Care and Education at UWI Mona, Professor Zoya Kincaid-Clark, said the colloquium is centered on advocacy for Jamaica's most vulnerable citizens.
Given the passage of Hurricane Melissa, Jamaica's already vulnerable early childhood sector will need all hands on deck, from partners to help the sector recover.
Professor Kincaid-Clark was speaking at a JIS think tank on Friday. The conference is being staged in collaboration with the JN Foundation, the Early Childhood Commission, ECC, the UWI School of Education, and the Dudley Grant Early Childhood Resource Center. And finally, James Jimmy Cliff Chambers will be accorded an official funeral. Culture Minister Olivia Babsy-Grange made the announcement in Parliament Tuesday, saying further details will be shared soon.
He left specific instructions how he wanted Jamaica to say farewell to him. His passing has left us deeply saddened, as the transitioning of Jimmy represents a major loss, not just for Jamaica, but for the world. He gave so much of his life to delivering meaningful music, which resonated in every corner of the globe.
A moment of silence was observed for the late reggae legend who died on Monday at the age of 81. Tributes also came from both sides of the House.
Through it all, he remained grounded, and despite walking with kings, never lost the common touch.
Jimmy Cliff has taken his final bow, but his voice will continue to echo in dance halls and churches and quiet moments of reflection. His life reminds us that Jamaica's creativity is indeed world-class, and that our stories, told in our language, our rhythm, are powerful enough to move the world.
He penetrated markets which had not traditionally been open to Jamaican music. And, he became a much-loved cultural ambassador for Jamaica.
Jimmy Cliff reshaped what was possible for a boy from a rural district, for a young singer with a dream for a small island with a big voice.
And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Lisa Rowe. Thanks for watching.
Are you confident that you are the legal owner of your property? Take action to secure your property ownership. Get a registered certificate of title and become the legal owner of your property. To register your property and obtain a certificate of title, you will need to provide a tax registration number (TRN), a valid government-issued identification, a survey diagram, documentation to prove ownership, up-to-date property tax certificate, the names, addresses, and occupations of 2 neighbors over the age of 50 who are not family members and can give a declaration on your behalf. Proof that you have been in open, undisturbed, and undisputed possession of the property for 12 years or more. For further information on registering your property and obtaining a certificate of title, contact the National Land Agency at 876-750-5263 or 876-946-5263. Email asknla@nla.gov.jm or message us at WhatsApp at 876-418-5089. The National Land Agency. One agency, one goal to serve you better.
The Gibor family has managed to successfully raise 4 girls. In the upcoming feature, they'll open up about their journey in parenthood, revealing the values, habits, and support systems that have helped their children thrive, both in school and in life.
You've heard the phrase, behind every successful man, there is a strong woman. We would like to borrow from that and say, behind every successful child, there is strong parenting. Example of which we found in the Gibor household.
I have 4 children, and all 4 of them are different.
Starting school was really challenging for each one of them. Actually, they didn't start school until they were about 4 or 5 years old. Initially, we had difficulty with them in school. We actually pay for school at 3 and 2 years, and they didn't go, they created a tantrum.
Despite that late start, once the girls got into the academic race, they progressed well. A family of 6, the oldest child, Rishka, a civil engineer, was on the clock at the time of this interview. Their second child, Rania, is an architecture hopeful at the Caribbean School of Architecture and the dancer in the family. Their third child, Rasha, has been a top student at the Arden High School since her first day there, holding on to a 4.0 GPA. And the baby of the family, Rashmi, is the top girl for the 2025 PEP exams along with countless other achievements. It is safe to say that winning is a thing at the Gibor residence. But of course, there are certain routines and habits that contribute to this.
I have a series of alarms in my phone that goes off.
I've memorized which song is for which alarm, so I don't have to check the time. But her phone is 15 minutes ahead, so when it's 6:45, when it says 6:45, it's actually 6:30. I know the 5 o'clock alarm and the 5:30 alarm and also the 6 o'clock. So those are the different alarms that let me know when it's time or what I should get done by then. So for the 5 o'clock alarm, I have to wake up by 5:30, I have to comb my hair, bathe, brush my teeth, all of that. 6 o'clock, I have to leave out. So I just use her alarms to guide me.
The school day doesn't just begin when the bell rings, it starts at home. Simple steps like preparing ahead can ease the morning rush, giving children a calmer start to their day.
So you pack your stuff from the night before so that when you get up in the morning, you just eat, you drink your tea, and then you leave.
And during the summer holidays, Mama Gibor has an interesting take.
They have July for themselves. That's their holiday period. But when August comes, then that's my time for school. What I do is I try to get the books early. So I know that based on the others' performance, they'll have literature, for example. So I try to get all the literature books based on what I have and what they need. And what they're expected to do, what Rashmi is expected to do, is to read a book every week and give me a chapter review with the main characters, the plot, the theme, everything else, so that when she is to start that subject at that time, then she'll already have that material ready. So they have all of those books to go through before school actually begins.
When I was younger, I was not looking forward to August, but I don't know if you've heard of Pavlov's dog experiment, where you basically ring the bell and you give a dog food at the same time. So even after ringing the bell, the dog becomes so accustomed to it that he's anticipating food. It's something similar to like that for me. When I was younger, Mommy kept doing the August time for us to do our schoolwork. Now that I'm older and I'm not under that much supervision, I just feel prepared that I have to do something by August. I mean, as much as I appreciate the full 2 months, I don't understand she's doing it for the better, because I'm not going to be able to have enough time to do everything when school starts. So I just like to be ahead.
Getting familiar with the information and the subjects and everything beforehand helps me to be ahead of the class and to understand things better.
And I provide the materials. What do you need? So I get them at least 2 days before. But I review the worksheets every week So I know that if a worksheet is due next week, if an assignment is due next week on the worksheet, then we'll do it a week before.
However, academic support is just one piece of the puzzle. For the youngsters, being present and engaged in their everyday life makes the biggest difference.
It is very important to be involved. I think for most children, the parents is their biggest supporter. And if you don't encourage your children to do well and allow someone else to encourage them, you don't know what the outcome might be. So it is very, very important to help your children in their schoolwork. Some children might love academics while others might love sport. You have to encourage them to do whatever they like, but they also have to do their schoolwork, because whatever field you choose, you have to be able to read, you have to be able to write, you have to be able to express yourselves.
It comes from the parents. You have to encourage a child that whatever you're doing, you do it to the best of your ability. Don't matter about the result. It's how you get there.
It is important to note, though, that while academic push is critical, giving children the space to relax and have enjoyment is equally significant.
At home, we try to encourage them to do their homework early so that they can get free time to do whatever else they need. Everybody loves some free time.
There's something called burnout when you study too much and then you don't realize how much this actually affects you. It can affect your quality of work or how you are when you approach things. So it's important to get little breaks for your own free time so that each time you're about to start a new set of work, your mind is refreshed and you're ready to get started and do that task with the best of your ability.
I think it's very important. I think you need that free time to really relax. You can't be constantly stressing about school all day, every day. So I do appreciate it where you can just get your own time to do things that you like.
When you have children who are doing exams, they also need free time. So if they have extracurricular activities, then you don't stop them, because you need a little time. You can't be studying 24/7. Everyone is human. Everyone needs a break. Same as how when you come from work 5 o'clock, you don't want anyone to disturb you. Then it's the same for them.
Having gone through the process before, and as they continue to go through it with their younger children, the Gibbors have these words of encouragement.
I know the schoolwork is very difficult for even parents, at the PEP level. Some parent might be able to assist their children, while I know some might not. But it is important, if you are not able to help your children, get help. Ask the teachers to assist, or if you can find a community member to help, that would be great.
As what Mama said, you have 5 fingers and all 5 fingers are different. See what each child's strengths are and maximize on that. So if they're successful in school, then you ensure that they do extracurricular activities as well to support that. If they're a good speaker, if they're good at creative ideas or creative drawing or anything like that, then you support them. Just encourage them and don't belittle them or don't stress them or don't pressure them into doing what you want to do, because at the end of the day, it is what they like that they will be successful at.
The Statistical Institute of Jamaica Statin will be conducting the 2025 Jamaica Survey of Living Conditions JSLC starting August 2025. For over 30 years, PIOJ analysis of JSLC data has helped to shape national policy, including on education, healthcare, and social support. When the JSLC team visits your home, participate. Your voice helps guide real solutions. For more information, visit statinja.gov.jm or WhatsApp Statin at 876-569-1083.
The youth of today are important for nation building, as they are the drivers of innovation, possessing new perspectives. Watch now as the Prime Minister engages with high school students, inspiring them to rise to their full potential and lead with purpose.
the first step of wanting to get empowerment and be empowered is you must never be satisfied with the way you are. You must always be seeking to improve. So you must always be seeking more, seeking better, because you can always do better. You can always improve. And I believe that sometimes in our society, we don't always encourage people to improve. Even in our household, we tend to say, well, you're just like your daddy, meaning to say you're not going to be better than what your father or parent has achieved. You go on like you're better than people, meaning to say that we must all stay at the lower stage and not seek to improve ourselves. In fact, there is this thing in our culture that makes it appear as if someone is trying to improve themselves, they are doing something bad. That is true, right? When what we should be doing is to applaud people who work hard and achieve. Right? Yes, that's what we should do. But somehow in our culture, we have turned it upside down. And it is very pervasive in the classroom because you see what happens is it provides cover for people who are lazy and people who don't want to change and people who are set on a pathway to failure. So they don't want anyone doing better than the average, because then they will have to put out a little bit more effort. Now, if that is allowed to be the common standard in the society, then our society will never improve. So, one of the things I want to give you today is that you must never be ashamed of success. And you must always seek to be the best at what you do, to be excellent.
We're at the end of today's show, but be sure to join us again tomorrow for another lineup geared towards providing you with information on the government's policies and initiatives for building a better Jamaica. You may visit our website, jis.gov.jm, to rewatch this show or to catch up on the others we have on the site. I'm Theodore Henry, telling you thanks for watching from our production team here at the JIS.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.